Hello, thank you for watching Taxpayer Alert, which is sponsored by the Calaveras County Taxpayer Association, and I'm president of that outfit. And we're so glad to have a guest with us this time of Joel Barnett, who's an expert on Bear Valley, and he's putting together a new project there. And Joel, welcome.
Thanks for having me, Al.
Joel, tell me, how did you get involved in all this? What caused you to get so excited about Bear Valley?
Well, I kind of stumbled into it by accident. I was born and raised in Berkeley in the Bay Area. I spent 15 years as an options market maker on the Pacific Stock Exchange, one of those guys yelling and screaming and waving my arms around. And in my late 20s, I decided to buy a cabin in the woods. So we bought a little cabin up in Sky High Ranch. When the market fell apart in 2001, I ended up buying Bear Valley real estate as my get out of urban America game plan, and my wife and I moved full-time with our then 2-year-old son to our house up in Sky High Ranch. I quickly realized that living in a small community, you could have a direct impact on your community. It's so easy. In the city, you could volunteer for a million different things, and it'll seem like you never make a difference in your community. You could belong to Save the Bay or any other organization, Sierra Club, that kind of thing. But when you're in a small community, you could have a little bit of effort, goes a long way. And so I've always been really active in our community, helping where I can.
Now, you're promoting the a co-op venture, Mountain Cooperative, that hopefully will buy the facility from its present owners. And that sounds kind of exciting, but also sounds like a lot of work. How far along are you with that project?
Well, we've been working really hard. It's not just me. There's a whole team working on this. And we've been at it for about 5 or 6 months now. We're about halfway through. It's kind of a major milestone for us. We crossed through the 50% threshold of our membership drive just last week. So.
Oh, that's pretty exciting. What is the Bear Valley Mountain Cooperative, and how did it get started?
Yeah, the Bear Valley Mountain Cooperative, it's a California cooperative corporation. We're a corporation. We filed for 501c4 tax status with the federal government. We should be receiving that shortly. It's not a charitable organization, so your memberships are not tax deductible. And it got started. Basically, the current ownership bought the ski area and the village in 2005. It was a 3-way partnership, and they immediately started working on getting the master plan approved and the development that was allowed in the master plan. They worked on that, getting that entitled. And they worked diligently and spent millions of dollars from 2005 until January of 2012 to get all entitlements in place. It went through a full EIR process, and because the ski area itself is on federal lands, it went through what's called an environmental assessment, EA, which is like an EIR. And so at the end of the day, it's fully entitled for another 343 condominiums, a new European-style pedestrian village, a chairlift that goes from the center of the village to the ski area, and several on-mountain improvements, including a mountaintop restaurant and facility and some new trails.
It sounds very interesting.
Yeah.
What are the goals and objectives of the co-op, and what kind of improvements or fixes would be addressed first?
Yeah, so our goal obviously is to gain ownership and control of the ski area. The fact of the matter is the ski industry is a very small industry, and there is no one in the industry that doesn't know Bear Valley's for sale. So immediately when they went up for sale, the large corporations kind of called and kicked the tires a little bit, but finding out that there's only 343 units that can be developed, it's really too small for the likes of Powder Corp and Vail Corporation and those kind of players to care about us. So next we got washed over by kind of the medium range players, and they all kicked the tires and went away for one reason or another, and it's left with these kind of boutique deals like the co-op. So hopefully we will gain control of the ski area by middle of July, or the end of July is our target. We need to get immediately busy doing years worth of deferred maintenance. That's our main goal right off the bat. We are also going to immediately try to execute on several improvements that are already improved, including on-mountain improvements, some new trails, and just basically providing a better experience to the customers.
You know, we're a county taxpayer association, and we really support business, and we also support property rights. And one of the things that seems to be important about Bear Valley, its influence in our local economy. This has a lot of meaning for us and also for the county budget. Do you have a grip on that? What if Bear Mountain Ski Resort is flourishing? What effect does that have on our county economy?
Yeah, that's a great question. And out of full disclosure, I got to say I'm a Calaveras County resident, and I own in one form or another, 7 residential parcels and a commercial parcel in Calaveras County. So by no means am I doing this through altruism. I'm doing this to protect my own skin. So here are some numbers. So in its heyday, Bear Valley used to attract approximately 220,000 skier days a year. And you can imagine all of those skiers pass through Calaveras County on their way up, and they either coming for the day or for the weekend or for the week, and then they pass right back through Calaveras County on their way back down. The current numbers, the 5-year average, recent 5-year average, is 115,000 skier days, and this past year, because of the drought, we had approximately 75,000 skier days. So if you times each skier day by 2, the trip up and the trip down, in the heyday there was approximately 440,000 trips through Calaveras County, and now there's half of that. You can imagine each one of those carloads stops maybe in Farmington to gas up, maybe in Angels Camp to gas up. Angels Camp is the first good grocery store you get to, and then they're followed by Murphy's and Arnold. People stop for dinner. If they're stuck for traffic, they only make it to Angels Camp before their stomachs are growling. They may shoot for the fancy restaurants in Murphy's or drive on up and eat in Arnold. You can imagine all the sports shops, the real estate companies, the hardware stores. They're all affected. Bear Valley, almost all the employees at the actual ski area are Calaveras County residents. And when they have half of their normal customers, you can imagine the cafeteria staff, the on-mountain grooming staff, the janitorial staff, the mechanic staff, everything is cut in a similar percentage. And that has a huge ripple effect on our county, because when you have one lift mechanic who has a full-time job at Bear Valley, and he loses his job and can't find another job, well, then he's got to search elsewhere for jobs. And he takes with him his wife, who may have been a teacher at one of our local schools, and he takes with him his 2 or 3 kids that were in our public schools. So if you follow the decline of Bear Valley over the years, you'll see a decline in the public school enrollment. There's talk of combining Hazel Fisher and Michelson schools. You find just a decline in businesses in general. On the presentations that I've been giving to all the local homeowners associations, I have one slide, and it is all the businesses that have gone out of business in Arnold in the last 15 years. And the slide has 57 names on it. And every time I give a presentation, somebody in the crowd pipes up, well, what about this business and what about that? And I've shrunk the font so small that people can't read it in the back anymore, so I've got to stop where I am. But the point being is our greater Ebbets Pass community used to support so much more business. And politicians in general love to say, I mean, half the stump speeches on our supervisors are how they're going to provide jobs, or that's always the topic in Calaveras County. The biggest immediate way I know we can provide jobs in Calaveras County is to get the ski area vibrant again.
Now, when it's instead of being investor-owned, it's a co-op, which means that the people donate money. How's that work?
Yeah, so we're seeking, our target market is 5,000 members. The price is $2,500 per membership. You could be an individual member or you could be a business member. I bought a business membership through my business, and then my wife and I bought a second membership. You could be an active member or an inactive member. Either way, you get a vote on all major decisions. All the members vote whether you're an active member or an inactive member. So my 80-year-old mom in Berkeley, she's going to buy a membership. She's never going to ski a day in her life. She's going to spend $2,500 once to help the cause and never spend another dime.
Well, she may love her child.
Yeah, let's hope. So the memberships, if you want to become an active member, you are committing yourself to spending $300 a year. And it's an advanced spending commitment, basically, and that can go directly towards your season pass. If you're a individual member, you get a discounted season pass. One of the nifty benefits is for every child in your household under 13, you get a free season pass. So if you're a dad and you buy one membership, and you have 5 kids under 13, they all ski for free with their own season pass around their neck. And
wow.
Yeah, and the business memberships are kind of cool too. At this year's lift ticket prices, you get 10 free lift tickets each year with your $300 commitment. And at this year's lift ticket prices, that's $690 worth of tickets for $300. And they're to hand out to clients or basically to promote the area. You also get 50% off on lift tickets for any employee in your company. The benefits they're all listed on our website, and people could read more about the actual specific benefits.
What is the website?
It's bvmcoop.org. Bear Valley Mountain, bvmcoop.org.
All right, we've got to remember that now.
Yeah.
What do you see coming ahead in the? I understand another month you might have this thing ready to roll. So the next step would be to buy the property from the existing owners, and I assume that's is that a cash basis or is there terms?
So there's terms. We actually have a signed letter of intent with the ski company, and for them to hand over the books to start due diligence, we had to have a meeting of the minds.
Right.
There's been several kind of fly-by-night attempts at buying the ski area, and it never got out of the starting gate, so they weren't handed the book. So we actually have a signed letter of intent with the ski area describing the terms, the asking price on the whole thing, and we're talking about buying the ski area and the village down below, all the real estate associated with the village lodge, the Bear Valley Lodge, plus all the easements for the village chairlift. The chairlift rises out of the village and goes to the top of the ski area and passes over several private parcels and Forest Service parcels. And whenever you drop a chairlift tower, it's got to have an easement underneath it. And those are all buttoned up and ready to go. So right now there's an interim board, and they're the folks that just had the biggest enthusiasm to get this on the rolling. So once we hit our threshold, the ski area is willing to toss us the keys with only a percentage of our membership drive done. They also want us to retain some of our cash that we've raised for operating expenses and deferred maintenance right off the bat. They really want us to have success, and they're rooting for us. So the deal is quite favorable our way. Once we hit the threshold, which triggers the ski area giving us the keys, before we do that, we're going to go out to the membership, to the people that have already spoken up and become members. They're going to get a very specific business plan, financials, forecasting, advertising budget. Everything's going to be laid out in front of them, and we're going to ask the members to vote. Do you want to move forward with this or not? And if they say yes, we move forward. At that point, we have our first election of our first sitting board. And already half of the interim board members have said they're too busy in life. These are all heavy hitters and captains of industry that are working on this behind the scenes. And they don't have, they'd rather pass the baton to a brand new board. So,
do you have people in mind for the new board?
Well, let me start by telling you who's on the interim board. because I'm just really impressed. You know, as I said, my background is finance, and I've been self-employed for 30 years now. And so I just love mixing it up with these guys. It's fantastic. So the first guy, he's gone through several startups in Silicon Valley. He's been the business end of these startups, not the engineering end. And so he's kind of in between right now, and he has the means and the time to really drive this home. And that's Steve Troyer. He's really kind of the orchestrating everything right now. His right-hand person, and there's no one really in charge. We're all just working on this together. So his right-hand guy in his efforts is Mike Wallenfeld. Mike is the founding partner and former CEO of Mountain Hardwear, clothing company. It's similar to a North Face sort of clothing company. And they sold that through Mike's leadership. That was sold to Columbia Sporting Goods. He was then tabbed to be the CEO of a company called Timbuk2, which is like satchels and mail bags. They're actually on the back cover of Time magazine this month for a Citibank ad. Timbuk2 got sold, and so Mike is in between and has the means to see this through. We also have a former mergers and acquisition, chief of mergers and acquisition for 3Com working on this. We have the current CFO in charge of mergers and acquisition for Covidian Healthcare, which is a multi-billion-dollar healthcare company. She is structuring the actual buyout. We have Jesse Markham, who's a law professor in the Bay Area at Bolt, and corporate attorney, and he's helping us legally structure this. And there's several other people like that on this interim board. We'll see who steps up to be on the actual board going forward in the future, but I suspect it's going to be similarly qualified people.
It seems like a lot of these people have been involved in promotion in one form or another and creating things. One of the things that probably is a consideration is management of the facility once it's under operation, and also promotion of the facility to bring people up here. What sort of plans do you have along those lines?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's actually the question that we get asked most by locals. How are we going to promote the place? So none of us know how to run a ski area, and we're all busy doing our own lives. So we have actually tabbed a company that manages ski areas professionally. They currently manage 2 ski areas for a very large real estate investment trust that owns 28 major ski areas in the United States. This company manages 2 of them for this REIT. They have a track record at these 2 ski areas of taking them from the skier day numbers that we have right now up to the $300,000 to $400,000 skier day, or 300 to 400,000 skier day a year numbers. And they did this. Their plan is basically better everything. Better customer experience, better marketing, better food in the cafeteria, better snowcat grooming. And so we're going to turn over the management, the day-to-day management of the ski area and the lodge in the Bear Valley Village to this company. And they're going to run with the ball. So the board will manage the managers. The managers will do what they do best. They bring in their own marketing department. They bring in their own everything, basically.
Well, it seemed like the board would have a problem if they wanted to micromanage that company.
Yeah.
That would probably not work too well.
No, exactly. And that's the naysayers say it's going to be herding cats, and one guy's going to want to have chocolate chip cookies in the cafeteria, and another guy's want to have oatmeal cookies.
Right.
And that's not the case. We're literally turning this over to professionals that know what they're doing and have a proven track record of doing it.
Oh, that's interesting. Now, the existing co-op has a LOI with the current owners. What is an LOI?
That's a letter of intent
Okay.
So the specifics of the deal, we actually have a two-stage deal in place. Because we're anxious to mow the proverbial lawn of the ski area, we want to gain physical control of the ski area immediately.
Right.
Time's wasting, it's summertime, it's time to remove dead trees and paint.
Get ready for next winter.
Exactly, and now's the time. So our deal is a two-step deal. First step that will consummate is the ski area. Second step is the village. The LOI covers both together as a package, so we're not going to get strong-armed and we get the ski area and then go back for the village and they say, well, the price is double for that now. That's already covered in the first LOI.
Okay.
And, yeah.
So if I bought a $2,500 share, and then the operation became successful, and it was very productive, I imagine the value of my co-op share would go up. Is that true?
Yes and no. Yes and no. So it's a for-profit company. Our mission statement is we're plowing every bit of the profits back into it, and you can imagine there's no end of need for a capital improvement.
Right.
Millions and millions and millions.
Which adds value to the
Which
share.
adds value. So no share receives a dividend, and you can't trade your shares like a stock. The co-op will buy back your share at any time. We have bylaws that can be read on our website, and it spells out the mechanism for that. But the co-op will buy back anybody who's disenchanted. Will buy back their share. You can be out at any time as long as we're still liquid. And but where there is value is, let's say we polish the whole thing and one day one of these previous buyers comes back and says, aha, we made a mistake. I think we'll buy you for twice what you spent on it. The co-op members themselves will vote to sell or to not sell at that point.
I see.
And if we sell and if we profit, then percentage-wise you will be returned your investment plus whatever the profit is percentage-wise.
Okay, so there's an investment upside besides having the discounts on skiing.
Yes, but we tell people it's not an investment like a stock share might be.
Right.
It's really an investment in your community, and our members are coming from far and wide. So when we say the community, we mean that in kind of a holistic sense. We certainly mean physically all of Ebbets Pass, starting at Copperopolis and going all the way up. But we also mean all of Calaveras County, Central Valley, the Bay Area. That's the Bear Valley community, basically.
If the co-op is not successful in its efforts to purchase, what then?
Yeah, so we've always said that if right in the middle of our efforts here, if a really good, bona fide, quality buyer comes along, we've always said we would step out of the way. But they're just not presenting themselves. And so right now, before we pull the trigger, all the membership money goes into an escrow account. We can't touch it. We can't spend a dime on legal or printing or T-shirts or banners or anything. All that money has been raised through donations, and we're actually still seeking donations. I wanted to do a direct mailer, and everybody's like, "Holy cow, that's going to cost $1,600, which is significant right now." So, if we fail for whatever reason, or the membership decides not to go ahead, or another buyer swoops in, all the money gets returned to the original owners, to the members.
That makes it pretty secure.
It's very secure. You also have, as a member, you have no liability. Somebody trips and falls and sues the ski area, you have no personal liability. There's no mechanism in the bylaws for mandating a capital call. You have basically no monetary risk below zero.
How will the new co-op, assuming it's successful, how would it blend with other attractions and tourism in the county?
We really think that Bear Valley is the anchor tenant to the mall, so to speak.
And the rest of us are the mall.
And the rest of us are a mall. And so one store without the rest is kind of a boring mall.
Right.
So we need everybody else in the community to thrive as well. So we've already committed to any business members that businesses that have bought memberships. They are going to be featured prominently on all of our advertising efforts and push out. They're going to have prominent space on our website. But more so, we're going to work with everybody from Greenhorn Creek and Windham Hill, straight through all the way Abbott's Pass to market the whole area. We think the area needs to be marketed, just not the ski area at the end of the cul-de-sac.
I understand there's several visitors bureaus that are working now. I think there's a county visitors bureau, and there's another one in Murphy's. I think it's run by Steve Fairchild, who owns a Moaning Caverns. And there may be some other visitors bureaus that are, and so you would actually be even more of a visitors bureau in that sense, because you'd be reaching out beyond the county to bring people in.
That's right. And the existing ski area has quite a robust client list over the years. And they reach quite a few people with their existing marketing, and we would just want to add to that and co-opt with the visitors bureaus that are in our county already to further market the area.
Would some of the current employees that work for the existing owners, would they have an opportunity to work for the new ownership if it takes place?
Yeah, I can't specifically speak to that. But the general concept is this professional management company will come in.
Oh, they'll decide.
They'll decide
based on merit.
Not the board, based on merit. I'm sure they'll have interviews and find out what everybody does up there.
Right.
And you can imagine quite a few people will stay in their chairs.
Yeah, they got experience.
Yep.
And they're there.
Yep. And some maybe underperforming departments may be replaced, but the co-op won't have any direct effect on that.
So it looks as though once it's in operation, there won't be much for the co-op board to do other than to keep track of what the management company's doing.
Well, that'd be nice, but we all know being on a board is it's code word for doing a lot of work. I'm currently on a committee called the Village Visioning Committee, and it's very nascent right now, and we're going to open it up to more members once we actually transact the purchase. But the next step would be to physically imagine, how do you physically want the village of Bear Valley to look? Do you want it southwest like Taos, or do you want a timber frame like Sun Valley, Idaho? What do you want it to look like, and what attractions, what amenities, what services should we have there? So there's a lot of work there, demographic studies and economic studies that we'd have to go through to figure that one out. But there's a lot of work for everybody going forward.
Now, what's your website again?
It's bvmcoop.org.
bvmcoop.org.
Yeah, and that stands for Bear Valley Mountain Co-op.org.
All right.
Yeah.
And this is Calaveras Taxpayer Association.org. And you're welcome to go to our website as well as Joel's. We're coming toward the end of our interview now. What last message would you want to give our viewers?
I would say the time is now to buy a membership. We need you right now. What we've found by talking to there's actually only one other co-op in the whole country, and that's Mad River Glen in Vermont. And what they found was when their membership drive got to the 75% level, people just piled in.
That sounds very good.
It sounds very good, and it's coming
Thank you for watching.
Yeah.
We're sorry at the end of this exciting program. Please come and visit us again. Remember, CalaverasTaxpayers.org. Thank you.
Thank you, Al.